Hi, in this video I would like to go over some of the features that iBooks and Inkling offer for the iPad and how you can use these tools to create highly interactive, engaging content for the 2012 or the 21st century dental students and dental hygiene students. But before I go over the features of the platform, let me just go back a few steps and talk about the way we teach right now. In my course, I ask students to purchase a textbook to be used in the course. This is an example of one of the textbooks that I use in my dental hygiene course. Some of you may use that textbook or use the White and Farrow oral radiology textbook. Most of you are aware of this book, and it has good scientific information presented in a nice way. But the problem is we are living in 2012. We have students who are too busy. They would go to Facebook, go to YouTube, and they would learn from Wikipedia and other sources. Unfortunately, textbook did not evolve. If you look at the 2004 version or even the previous version, nothing or not much has changed since then. But if you look at technology, it has really evolved in the past few years. So the first thing that you notice about the textbook, it's the size. It's so big. I mean, everybody who look at this and say, like, do I really need to study all of this? Can't you just tell me what I need to study to pass your course? You know the students and how they think. So, and part of the reason is the way this material is currently being taught. I mean, if we just go over one of the things in the book, and I just want to give you an example why this format is very limited. Let's take an example, the technique of unwrapping the film without touching the film and placing the film in the plastic or the paper cup. As you can see here, you have 4 pictures showing you different steps in the process, but anything in between is missing. So the student has to imagine how you would unfold the film and then let the film be dropped into the paper cup. This is one of the limitations of presenting information, and because it's a textbook, there is no other way of doing that. And basically, the student need to be in the clinic or in the lab and see someone doing that firsthand before they get the full picture. Well, with the iPad, it's possible to place videos showing the technique right inside the book itself. You don't have to compromise or cut corners when it comes to learning. The other thing is the pictures themselves. Everything is printed out in grayscale, black and white, whatever you want to call it. Why? Because printing in colors costs a lot of money to the publisher. So they would again cut the corners when it comes to printing cost, and this is what you get. And unfortunately, for some things, this is not very good. So the ring kit, we know that it's color coded, but in this example, we don't know what the color is. Is it blue? Is it yellow? Why the student has to basically learn from this? Well, because it's always been the case. Nobody has done anything about it. So that's one of the main goals that I have for this project, is basically not to compromise on the learning experience. I believe if you can make learning fun, if you can add interactive content, you can engage the student better and hopefully improve the learning outcome. Maybe you get them excited, to learn from the textbook. Again, infection control, again, you see only part of the picture. You never see the full picture till you go to the clinic. And if you can show that to the student before coming to clinic, then at least they've seen it once, maybe twice. I mean, they can always pause the video, rewind, watch it again, um, and then when they come to the clinic, they don't look like idiots, you know. They know what they need to do, and your role as a faculty member is to supervise them, you know. And I don't need to go through all of these things, but again, techniques for taking intraoral radiographs, you only see how the final thing is assembled. We don't know how this was assembled, how the operator placed this inside the patient mouth, how they reflected the gingiva, you know, moved the tongue, what information they gave to the patient. All of that is missing. And if the author wanna basically talk about this, well, guess what? They're gonna write 200 lines of text, you know? Seriously, who has the time to read all of that, you know? And our goal for this project is basically to reduce the text, be up to the point, and supplement the material with engaging content. I'm gonna stop here and I'm gonna go back to the iPad and show you how the iPad can make the difference in students' learning. Here I have, let me just focus a little bit on the iBook platform. So I'm gonna tap on the iBook app. You can download this from the App Store, and here you see my library of textbooks. There are some of the chapters that you can download for free. I'm gonna show you one of the textbooks called Life on Earth, and this is really an inspiring textbook. It's gorgeous the way they did it, and you can tap again to bring the chapter, and you can swipe with your finger. Again, you see high definition colored images. Everything is nicely organized, and again I can pinch in to zoom out, and I can flick, and then I would be able to jump through the chapter. This can never be done on a PDF in such level of interactivity. And you know, I used Vital Source, and basically it's just an electronic digitized version of the same textbook. They did not do anything to improve the learning experience, unfortunately. But you can look here, you can see that you have a lot of interactive features. I'm gonna go and bring up one of the sections, and again you see here an electron or a 3D model of the molecular biology or the genomes. And I thought, well, maybe we can use a scanning electron microscope in our textbook to look at the crystals of the film. So we're gonna try to do that. You can have also interactive elements. So this is an example of the molecular families. I can tap on the DNA and it will load a 3D animation of the DNA double helix. I can tap on lipids and it will show me the lipid bilayer, and everything is in constant motion. I mean, how cool is that? You know, to be able to see that in motion, in high definition and in full colors. So this is what I was trying to refer to as not compromising on the learning experience. You can also have a 3D figure, and again you can tap to bring things in full screen. And I'm looking at an interactive 3D nucleosome. This could be used for example to look at dental anatomy, cavity preparations, crown preps and such. I'm gonna zoom out, and this is another scan of electron or of colored enhanced electron microscope. And as I'm going through the chapters, you can see, for example, here you have this image, and because they used an alpha transparency, the text is basically going around the image. You can also have videos. Let me tap here.
We want to show you biology, just like this great system I'm standing in, is a living science. It's changing, it's evolving, and it's becoming so important in our lives, and it's advancing so rapidly as a science that I think it's fair to say that we are living in the century of biology.
So think of using the video to show how you would take intraoral radiographs. You have the operator sitting in the room working with the patient and doing all of that. So we will take care of doing the videos, the 3D interactive elements, but I would like to ask you to think about using these features while you are writing your chapter. So when we come in, we can just basically fill in the spots for you. You can also have another form of interactivity. For example, they are showing here an insect body at the bottom and 3 pictures on the top, and as you tap, you can highlight that feature on the top. And the same thing can be used, for example, to illustrate part of the X-ray machine. So think of that. This is another cool feature. Let me show you this one. This basically shows the global temperature rise from 1884 to 2010. And I have a slider at the bottom with the years shown below it, and I have an interactive image on top. And as I use my finger to move the slider, you can see some changes happening on the image on top. And as we approach 2010, you get to see the global warming of our planet. One of the things that I faced while teaching the dental hygiene students is the concept of the relationship between KVP and contrast. The students had a hard time knowing what do we mean really by high KVP, or sorry, by high contrast or low contrast, so much white, so much black. What does that all mean? You know, I mean, for us, we've studied this, and you know, we work with it on daily basis when we do interpretation. But for the student who is hearing this term the first time, it's challenging. And rather than just showing them 2 pictures, one with high contrast and one with low contrast, what we can do is, instead of the years at the bottom, we can have set of KVP values, and as I drag the slider to move, say, from 50 kVp or 60 kVp to 70 to 80, we can update the radiograph on top and show the relationship between how changing the KVP would change the contrast of the image. And boom, that's it. You know, the student get the full picture about what we are trying to tell them. It's really cool, you know, to be able to think about using these things to improve the learning experience of our students. This is another example showing you an interactive figure. It shows you the lab component, so I can tap and basically it will zoom in, focusing on the object and give me more textual description. How this can be useful, for example, again, if you go back to the X-ray machine, you can show it here, and you can show the component of the X-ray tube head, and you can label like the filament, the target, the window, and as the student taps on different labels, you can basically give more description, and you can basically use the arrows as well to navigate. I'm gonna stop here with the iPad. I'm gonna go to the other platform, Inkling. So with Inklings, basically the way you hold the iPad is vertically. So that's how they decided to do it. I'm gonna tap on the Inkling app, and again I'm presented with the shelf or my library, and I have different textbooks. what the main difference between Inkling and the iBooks from Apple is Inkling is more open, so Inkling not only works on the iPad like iBooks does, but it also works on iPhone. They released a web client, so now you can access the same content that you purchased through your Mac or your PC. So for students who don't own an iPad, this can be a challenging thing if we publish only to one platform, but if we publish to Inkling, then students who don't own an iPad and would still be able to access the interactive content, they can just log in from their computer and access the content. Hopefully an Android version would come in the near future. Let me tap on one of the books. It's Anatomy and Physiology. So once you tap, you will be presented with the screen from the book. Here you have different chapters. You can see that I got one free chapter when I got this book. And if you got the chance to watch the videos that I sent last night, you might have seen this, but I'm gonna go over the chapter for Inkling. And again, I'm presented with the sections of the chapter, and all of them, they are active links, so I can immediately tap and it will take me to the corresponding section. And again, I'm presented with interactive text, so you can see like cytology, there's number 1 next to it. I'm gonna tap on that, and cytology is defined as the study of. So if you have key terms that you are using in the textbook, you can basically highlight that. Proto means first, plasm means formed. And again, everything is interactive. As you can see, I have different interactive elements. There's a listen now button. I'm gonna tap on it.
Cell structure, cellular organelles. The cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Different types of cells vary greatly in size, shape, and function. There are, however, certain features that most cells have in common.
So what I think this could be useful is for students who are auditory learners. You know, we have visual learners and we have other students who prefer to listen to learn content, so this can be useful. Another thing that this can be used for is helping with the pronunciation of certain technical terms or Latin words, so the student know how this is pronounced. Again, you have different interactive figures, which is similar to the iBooks, but it's a little bit different, and I think it's actually better than what the iBooks has to offer. So let me tap, and I'm presented with this figure showing different components of the cell, and I have labels on the side. So think of this as, for example, a panoramic radiograph with different labels. But what the cool thing about this is the test yourself button. So once I tap into this, now all the labels are replaced with a question mark, and I can tap and it will show me the answer. So this is a cool way to learn anatomy. So basically you can test yourself for mastery of the content. Let me go back. And you have other forms of figures. You can have videos as well. But what the cool thing about this is basically the capability to do questions. And at the end of each chapter, you can have multiple choice questions, fill in the blank, and everything is interactive. So once I select this, I can check my answer, and it tells me why this is not the right answer. So if you're gonna put the chapter together and you're gonna put the questions, you would basically have to provide why this answer is not right for every single answer as part of writing the chapter. Thank you.